I'm going to give y'all good light for this message because I'm setting a boundary that I am really tired of people messaging me about this both sides rhetoric, which is essentially all lives matter and incredibly violent. A lot of you have said that Jewish people deserve a place that is safe from persecution, and that, in fact, is why Israel exists. That is not true. Israel does not exist to give Jewish people who experienced the Holocaust and their descendants a safe place from persecution in the Middle East. That's not why. And I tell you why it's not the case. Because the United Kingdom and the United States, who both back Israel and really want an Israel and have wanted an Israel for some time, almost 30 years ago, and have been making that very, very clear, did not care about Jewish people in that creation. And a settler colonialist environment space does not keep a oppressed group safe. That is not going to keep them safe if a government is literally murdering and harming the indigenous people who were there to create an Israel. That only puts Jewish people in harm's way. Jewish people are being used as political pawns to create and sustain an Israel. It is anti-Semitic and violent. I need you to think of it just like this, if this is not clear. Black Americans have been persecuted in the United States for over 400 years. If for some reason the U.S. said, oh, Black Americans, you can go back to the continent of Africa because y'all are indigenous to Africa, and we will support a state being created so you are safe from persecution. If that state being created caused the genocide of indigenous Africans, that is not okay. That is violent. Just because Black Americans have experienced persecution in the United States does not then warrant more harm being caused to someone else so that what? Black Americans can have a safe space from persecution? That doesn't do that. So this rhetoric of both sides, and there's trauma on both sides, and the person, the institution that we should be looking at is Israel, the United States, and the United Kingdom. All of you who are messaging me about Hamas are missing the point. You are being got by Western colonial media, and it is impacting how you think. Yes. You cannot believe settler colonialists and their dictations about stories. That's not accurate ever. You should always be questioning what a colonizer is saying is the truth. Like, I think we all can understand that. And I want you to further take this, right? Why isn't there a state for Black people to escape persecution? Why isn't there any messaging on the U.S. government's website that says if there's a Make America Great Again hat or a Confederate flag, or if someone says something violent, then that they will receive accountability? No. Guess what they get? Podcast series where they're getting paid millions of dollars, episodes on HBO, they're CEOs of major companies, transphobic people are literally still kept in their job. Hello, Netflix. No one is holding anybody accountable for the harm that they're causing to oppressed groups. Do not believe it. It is not all of a sudden the United States cares about an oppressed group. They care about their bottom line.
And Israel doesn't care about oppressed groups, and they don't care about Black Jews in Israel. They don't care about African refugees that they deport all the time without cause.
And I need you all to read about Netanyahu, the fact that from 2012 to 2018, he gave roughly $1 billion to Hamas. So if Hamas is out to eradicate Jews, and that is their focus, and that they are done and frustrated and causing so much violence, why is the head of Israel giving them money? U.S. dollars, okay? U.S. Go read. It is fundamental. Do not get got by this all lives mattering bullshit. Do not get caught by, oh, it's complex. It's a conflict. No, this is settler colonialism. And regardless of who was enacting that violence, they need to be called out and brought to the forefront and held accountable. This is not okay that Palestinians are constantly being harmed. And most of you don't even talk about it, don't even know about it because the media doesn't report it. Since 1948, Palestinian people have been forcibly removed from where Israel now sits. That is violent. Women, children, all various groups of people removed forcibly. Not okay.
75 years, genocide, war, death, violence.
And y'all are saying there's both sides. No. No, it's not both sides. Even if there was a Black American country on the continent of Africa, it would not be both sides. It would be blood on our hands that we stood behind the U.S. creating a country for us when it harmed other people. That is not okay. That is literally what Frantz Fanon said, is that the oppressed will become the oppressor. Don't do it. Pay attention. When the Black Lives Matter movement began, and I would say throughout the time that it was most prevalent, like 2020 heavily, so many people took issue with the statement Black Lives Matter. And they said, does that mean that white people don't matter? No, there's a vulnerable group that need to hear that they matter because institutions are constantly, and people are constantly showing them that they don't matter. So when somebody says, I stand with Palestinians, does not mean that we're saying that Israeli civilian lives do not matter. That is not what we are saying. We are saying that we stand with Palestinians, one, because we do not stand with genocide or ethnic cleansing. We are against that. And there is very little support of Palestinian people and Palestinian sovereignty. The focus is always on Israel. And that is a problem because we are navigating some of the most powerful countries in the world who want to have a say on how oppressed groups move and the support that they receive and if they're even seen as human. I also just want to add that when Black people are murdered by the state, there is debate on why that happened. Oh, he has a criminal past. Oh, the police were defending themselves. They have said this about 12-year-olds who are holding toy guns. Children will be removed forcibly from school just because it looks like they have a gun. There is no level of accountability for the presence of anti-Blackness in the United States. None. There is nothing on no government website that actually speaks to that it is actually wrong. Nothing. When Confederate flags are shown, when people have Make America Great Again hats, all of that is freedom of speech. No one is saying that is actually violent and you will be held accountable for having anything of the sort. No, that president was able to sit in office for 4 years and still carry on that rhetoric in various ways. And he wasn't the originator of it. So when you look at these oppressive ass governments having legislation to stop people from talking about Palestine specifically, I want you to think again about all lives, both sides. Yes. The president of this country has said multiple times that they stand with Israel. Never once did they say we need to keep Palestinian Americans safe. This puts Palestinians in harm's way. It is violent. I need people to wake up.